All right, and welcome aboard here to the North Florida Prep Report. Of course, Andrew Drew bringing you the action here today on a beautiful Tallahassee Thursday here that we have going on for you today. Of course, we had the first part of the installment catching you up on your Tallahassee teams on Tuesday. We, of course, went with the Big Five Leon County Public Schools. So now we're going to get into the rest of the Tally 10 here today. That's right. Florida High, FAMU DRS, Maclay, St. John Paul II, and of course, how could we forget North Florida Christian? Those are the five of the focus here today. What do they have going on? What's the situation? Where are they standing in the playoffs? If you're just tuning in to the football season, well, this is a perfect opportunity for you to do so. So let's get right into it, wasting no time here for our Tallahassee Thursday. NFC, St. John Paul II, Maclay, Florida High, FAMU DRS going to be the focus here of what we have going on today. So let's get right into it here with Florida High, of course, really emerging over the last couple of weeks and has been ripping off some big-time wins. As you can see, 4-2 after a slow start to the season to get it going. And, of course, a recent win up on the north side here with Childs. I'm really liking how the young Seminoles, Cowie, a quarterback coming along here on the 2024 campaign. Solid defensive front as well going here for Florida High. Broxton, Adams, huge on that defensive front to help kind of push the cart. Came up big in that win against Childs, 37-27 victory over the Big 5A school on the north side. So they were able to improve to 4-2, getting ready to head into district play. And that's where you see Gadsden County, a really big one here coming up this weekend against 6-1 Gadsden, which to a lot of people is one of the better teams, not only in the area, but in the state, of course, getting in the top 15 here for the state rankings, the top 2 or 3 here in the classification of 2A, which they are in. So huge district matchup here today. Nobody's played a district game in any of these contests. Gadsden's coming off a big win against Lincoln. So the emphasis is going to be the run game, and the offensive line is going to be the huge task to be able to try to shut down Gadsden. Of course, Landon Doherty, also a good passing game out there for them. So that'll be a challenge coming up for Florida High. But of course, that's what'll be the fun showcase on Friday. Who's going to take advantage and take the lead in this really, really tough district? It'll be a great shadow of what we coming on here today. So when you look at it, you talk about the district, which of course still gives you that automatic bid here in the playoffs for the FHSA. But you can still get an at-large one as well. So they take the top 8 teams in the region, if you do not know. And so, of course, Florida High, if it started today, if the playoffs began, they would be in, regardless of kind of the district seedings. Of course, that does not simulate some of the district champions in some of the other districts, 2, 3, and 4, that wouldn't really be factored in. But as far as the top 8 teams are concerned, just from that standpoint, they're in a pretty good position, but still have some work to do to make sure they can get into the postseason. But Florida High seems to be off and rolling here, giving themselves a really good chance to be playing football in November. Let's move on for our next Tallahassee team, FAMU DRS. Of course, just got into district play last week and coming in at 0-6 here. 0-1 in the district. Recent loss to Maclay on Friday. Good fight from them. Young team and looking to try to get back into the mix here with Coach Wise in his first season with the Baby Rattlers. Of course, really liking Cam McMillan, their running back. He did suffer a little bit of an injury, so wishing him the best in that. And of course, for the team, he's really impactful for them and what they're trying to do. So they've got a really big one coming up this weekend against NFC. Of course, NFC a little down this year. And even though DRS dropped to Maclay, they still have 2 opportunities in the district to get that automatic bid. So that looks like their ticket to the playoffs right now is getting it the old-fashioned way and trying to win the district. And that's still on the table, still with the game against St. John Paul II. still against the game against NFC. So even though they're sitting at 4th in the district after the loss to Maclay this past Friday, still an opportunity for the Baby Rattlers to get going here for a young squad and get some positive momentum going into the offseason. So, of course, once again, in the region, top 8 going to the playoffs. So if playoffs started today, the Baby Rattlers will be on the outside looking in, sitting at 11th out of 13th, but still within the realm of conversation and not mathematically eliminated for your Baby Rattlers going here. Team number 3 here of the Tallahassee Thursday update, that's going to be the North Florida Christian Eagles, coming in at 1-5 into this weekend, have not started district play. Of course, defense, the specialty of the squad here in the 2024 campaign. Of course, got the run game going last week a little bit versus Jefferson County, put up a good fight. Jeffco enough to pull away late in that second half, but a competitive contest, and it was the best performance that you saw from the North Florida Christian offense this season. So definitely some encouraging signs here for the Eagles. Of course, they're able to host DRS coming up this weekend, so that'll give them an opportunity to get things rolling as well. And that'll really kind of shake up the position. And after this weekend, I think we'll have a really good picture of what this district looks like here in 1A. So, of course, you have Maclay and St. John Paul II playing, and then you'll have this game going on between DRS and NFC. Things could get really muddy, especially if DRS and St. John Paul II are able to win this weekend. That could really tighten up the district because as it stands, no games in hand here. So the two teams that have not played in the district, NFC and St. John Paul II, as you can see, they are tied for second. So in the region, if the playoffs started today, the Eagles would be on the outside looking in. As you can see, that magic number is 8 here in the 1A classification. They're currently sitting at 10th in their region, so need to bolster up a couple spots, though, based on the points, not too far out of the equation. So we talked about FAMU DRS, we talked about NFC, opportunities for these teams to slide on in here going forward. Next team on the docket here, Maclay Marauders, coming in at 4-1. Of course, have the big district win last week against FAMU DRS. Put up a big tally, did they, last week. And for the quote-unquote small schools here in Tallahassee, which I take as our 2A schools and lower, they have the best winning percentage of those squads. Of course, 4-1, as you can see, and they're really kind of coming into terms. The defense has come on strong. I like that defensive line. You talk about Ryder Marks. Also, you talk about in the linebacking core, B.B. Potter, tackling machine. Offensive end, you love what you see from George Grant, dual threat guy. And, of course, Nash Bashir is his favorite receiver there. Also have some flexibility. Special teams has really been stepping up for them as well. Help secure a couple big victories. You really like what you see from Maclay here in 2024. So a tough upcoming contest here at St. John Paul II. So down in Southwood, that will be an interesting contest here. Of course, they could really step into the driver's seat. With a victory here, they would go to 2-0. So effectively, if Maclay wins this week and then DRS also wins against NFC due to the tiebreakers, Maclay could actually lock up an automatic playoff spot and the district here for the 2024 season, which would be huge. Anytime you can get into the playoffs, give yourself a chance. Want to get in there as soon as possible. So as you can see, first in the district, they're the only team in the district with a win at the moment here between NFC, St. John Paul II, them, and FAMU DRS. But if the playoffs started today, like we said, strength of schedule, quality opponents that they've seen out here today, successful record, one of the better ones here in the area. You can see down in the region, they're above the magic number. So if the playoffs started today, Marauders are in. Second out of 13, so they have some space. You look at the metrics and the points, you got to feel really good if you're Maclay. Of course, still a couple games they need to finish strong down the stretch here, but you like where you're at about just over halfway through their scheduled game slate. Looks like they're going to be a 9-game contest team here this season, but Marauders, you got to feel a thumbs up for them. Next school on the list is going to be St. John Paul II. The Panthers down in Southwood coming in with a 1-4 record here, yet to play in the district. Coming off a really tough Wakulla loss. They gave Wakulla all they could handle. 14-14 going down the stretch there. Wakulla with a late touchdown drive to take care of business, but battling through adversity did St. John Paul II. Of course, lost their starting quarterback. Were scrambling, ended up playing 3 different quarterbacks within the situation that they had there within the game script. Caden Collier, I think, came in to close it out. They had a big touchdown to make it 14-14 with the 2-point conversion, and a team that's kind of flying under the radar right now. Don't buy into too much that 1-4 record. They are a tough out for anybody going forward here, and I think Maclay could testify to that. They're currently sitting at second in the district, having not played a district game, tied with NFC in that standpoint, and they're a bubble team right now. So all of the games important here for St. John Paul II going down the stretch. So you talk about teams that needing some opportunities, or hey, can we help our own cause? St. John Paul II is one of those teams. So if playoffs started today, it looked like they'd be in. But if we get some upsets in district play, there could be in those other districts 3 and 4 that make up Region 1, there could be some automatic qualifiers that leapfrog St. John Paul II. So they definitely want to position themselves in a opportunity where that's not the case. So Maclay coming up this week would be a huge point get for them if they could add that into the strength of schedule, quality of record, which are all the metrics that the FHSA uses for these rankings. So St. John Paul II, like we said, don't sleep on the 1-4 record. If playoffs started today, they're in. So, new season once you get into district play. Can't emphasize that enough kind of across the board. But that's basically all we got here for the Tallahassee Thursday. Of course, we had to get to the non-Leon County schools, Maclay, St. John Paul II, NFC, and of course, Florida High. Big matchups coming up here. Like we said, the money season is upon us, and that is district play. So a lot of fun opportunities for them to go through. But thanks for tuning in for a little Tallahassee Thursday. If you got a team, you got a preview, you got an interesting scenario, a playoff opportunity that you want to zoom in, let us know. We'd love to take a deep dive on your team going forward here in the North Florida Prep Report. Once again, Andrew Jupe, have a great rest of your footballing weekend. Be well.